மரியாதைக்குரிய உயர்கல்வி மற்றும் வேளாண்மை அமைச்சர் திரு கே.பி. அன்பழகன் அவர்களே, உயர்கல்வித்துறை முதன்மை செயலாளர் திருமதி செல்வி அபூர்வா, இயக்குனர் ப்ரொஃபஸர் வி. அரவிந்த், கல்பாக்கம் IGCAR இயக்குனர் டாக்டர் அருண்குமார் பதுரி, ஆராய்ச்சியாளர்கள், அனைத்து மாணவர்களுக்கும் அனைவருக்கும் மனமார்ந்த வணக்கம். இந்த விழாவில் நான் உங்களுடன் கலந்து கொள்வதில் மிக்க மகிழ்ச்சி அடைகிறேன். Friends, I really feel very happy that I am able to visit this famous historic institute, the Institute of Mathematical Science, Chennai. It's very energizing to physically interact with the faculty and students of this hallowed institution. I really feel very much enthused and become more confident the future of our nation because of the tremendous effort being put in by our scientists and the amount of knowledge and enthusiasm shown by the young researchers. My dear friends, this is part of my visit of knowledge. I call it as a knowledge tour. After I became Vice President, before that, I was in public life for more than 40 years, moving with people, talking, walking, spending time, meeting, greeting, and then having always interaction with the people. But after becoming Vice President, you know, because of constitutional responsibility and there is an amount of protocol, you can't move as you like. You can't go to all places. So everything is decided in advance. And also there is a system. But I told my people, we should continue this, but in a different manner. So I have decided to go around the country and meet 4 segments of the society. Number 1, visiting all the research institutes across the country, from Andaman to Jammu Kashmir. Research institutes of different kinds. Second, visiting universities across the country, IITs, IIITs, IISR, IIMs, like that. The third one is visiting farmers, agriculturists, fields, knowing about the research activity that is going on in ICAR, Krishi Vijnana Kendras, agriculture universities, and also field visit and interacting with the farming community to understand their problems, their challenges, and the new methods they themselves have invented, stressing the need about the lab to land. And next category is going around the country, visiting various cultural bodies to understand the depth of our culture, heritage, and also to promote and propagate our culture, which is time-tested. We are an ancient civilization. We are talking of Mesopotamia, Babylonia, Egypt, Greece, Athens, all those civilizations. But our civilization, which is older, is surviving even today with all vibrancy. The reason is the knowledge given to us by our forefathers and also their desire to pass on that heritage to the next generation for the betterment of the humanity. Because we, India, Bharat, we believe in Vasudaika Kutumbakam. Entire universe is one family. That is our philosophy. Share and care is the core of our Indian philosophy. People of the planet, humanity, not one country. Of course, to begin with, we have to take care of ourselves, our surroundings, our states, and our country. But the end of it is welfare of the humanity. If you take care of the welfare of the humanity, humanity can live in peace. Peace is the prerequisite for progress. If you have tension, you cannot pay attention. So you have to work for the peace. Peace will come through progress. Peace will come through happiness of everybody. And then everybody's desire is to have a peaceful, happy, healthier life. Because mere wealth will not give you happiness. It is the wealth coupled with health and also the service, the sharing and caring. That बताओ उनको क्या हो रहा है? बाहर जाके बात करने के लिए बताओ कोई भी. There, the happiness has to be shared. This is the philosophy of our civilization. So, my dear friends, youngsters, the purpose of my visit across the country to all these institutions is to understand the progress of research. And the purpose of research and science is to better the lives of the people. That is the purpose, ultimate aim. Betterment of the people's lives. People should live in harmony and happiness. So, this is the purpose of my visiting, and I might have covered maximum number of institutes. There are still number of institutes and also much progress, changes have come, and then I would like to visit some of them second time. The director was telling about making a request about visiting Kalpakam again because new research, new innovations are coming up. So one must be abreast with the latest developments of the country. Everybody in life, I believe in the philosophy, everybody in life must go on learning. Not earning alone, learning. And then coupled that with share and care. That is the purpose. And also to enthuse the people who are working in various fields, the researchers, the youngsters. By visiting the Vice President, visiting the institutes, one, his knowledge is improved. Second is, the people who are working in the institutes, they also get enthused and encouraged. Appreciation, understanding and appreciation is very much required. That's why yesterday I tweeted about the vaccine, Indian-made vaccine. The entire country, people are elated. They are very happy because it's a big leap in science. As we continue to fight against COVID and maintain safe distancing, we have also come to appreciate the value of real relationship and the real interactions in our lives. I am hopeful that this event is a sign of better things to come. And I wish you all a happy, prosperous, healthy, safe, and most importantly, a peaceful New Year. My dear sisters and brothers, the great German mathematician Gauss has often quoted as saying, mathematics is the queen of sciences. Mathematics is perhaps the main driving force behind the scientific discoveries. Indeed, the progress of human civilization over the ages can be marked by the corresponding progress in mathematical thought and discovery. India has a rich history of practicing mathematics since ancient times. We had stalwarts like Aryabhatta, Varahamihira, Brahmagupta, who made discoveries and used algebraic techniques that were well ahead of the rest of the world. The earliest source on Indian mathematics was the Sulabha Sutras from the Vedic period. Sutras like Apastamba and Baudhayana contain the geometric details for construction of sacrificial altars and for the other rituals. In the spirit of our philosophy of share and care, our knowledge was shared. Our numerals were borrowed by Arab traders, which later spread to medieval Europe and are now known as Hindu-Arabic numeral systems. Acknowledging these contributions, Albert Einstein once said, quote, "We owe a lot to the Indians who taught us how to count, without which no worthwhile scientific discovery could have been made," unquote. The other day, I was going through a calendar, new calendar, developed by students of IIT Kharagpur. Who said what about India and its knowledge? Various experts across the globe, their quotations and all. This rich legacy in mathematics continued in modern times too. The great Indian mathematician Ramanujamji has captured the imagination of the people world over. With almost no formal training, he made important contributions to mathematical analysis and number theory without employment and living at the time in ordinary conditions. He continued his work undeterred. Finally, only one English mathematician, G.H. Hardy, noted his work. Ramanujamji was able to travel to Cambridge, England, and became one of the youngest fellows of the Royal Society. Hardy considered that Ramanujam's genius could only be compared to the mathematical greats like heard Euler. In a short but eventful life, Sri Ramanujam produced nearly 4,000 amazing original results. His notes had original theorems that took years for other mathematicians to prove. His genius of looking at the speciality in each number is unmatched and legendary. His inspirational story must motivate us to discover many more Ramanujams in our children. Always remember, there is no dearth of talent in India. This land, this soil, this water, this air, this civilization has something special. There is inherent knowledge. What you need to do is identify, encourage, and promote. Then you will. That's how it explains about the Indian companies coming out with this vaccination in such a short span of time. Mathematics and science are subjects are enticing, exciting, and invigorating to the human mind. But more than just being numbers and tools for finding new discoveries, they have more importantly been the lifeline of human progress. Mathematics and science are drive technological innovations, which in turn advance the mode of production of goods and ultimately propels the economy. Thus, mathematics and science can bring innovations that will make the common man's life more comfortable. My dear brothers and sisters, we all know that mathematics is introduced at a very young age in our school curriculum. It is deemed as part of the child's basic or elementary education. Unfortunately, many children get intimidated by the subject and simply develop fear and anxiety at the prospect of learning mathematics. This fear can be removed only by arousing interest of the child in the subject. Therefore, the method of teaching plays a critical role in making children passionate about maths. An important issue that needs to be addressed is rote memorization, even in mathematics. Many a time, children simply memorize the answer from a textbook and reproduce it in the exams. This has to be stopped, and the child must be trained to think creatively and analytically. Undoubtedly, better teaching training and revamped curriculum are crucial to revitalize prime education. Nowadays, we are not allowing children to think innovatively. We are not giving that much time. And with this advent of new technology, of course, which is useful undoubtedly. Children, you ask them anything, they try to go to the net. And then Google. That's why I'm suggesting nowadays children should use telephone sparingly, in a useful manner, rather than continuously being busy with the phone. Phone prone to many diseases and problems. Disease means other disease, I'm not talking the medical diseases. Most of the time. What is there? Nothing, yes. And with the advent of social media, you know what is all appearing in WhatsApp, in phone, and its messages added to the modern cinema, where values, culture, heritage, family systems are all being slowly compromised and eroded. Telephone is definitely very useful. Even we use also telephone, but over-utilizing. Second is about preoccupation with the screen most of the time. Your mind is captured, you are not allowed to think. So innovation, that's why the gurus, the teachers, they have a greater responsibility in arousing creativeness among the children while teaching. rather than simply going by textbook alone. The educators must adopt creative methods to invigorate young minds. Puzzles, demonstrations, and other hands-on activity could be utilized to make children become friends with the numbers. A pedantic manner of teaching should be replaced with more interactive and inclusive method. The new education policy seeks to do away with the rigid separation between arts and sciences. Curricular and extracurricular and vocational and academic streams. This is also very, very important. When we were students, I remember, we used to have compulsory PT class, physical training, which is missing nowadays. And also air wing, NCC, other courses where discipline and nationalism, thinking about the country, was aroused among the children. And secondly, there used to be craft class. Crafts, various crafts, they used to be taught, and children used to develop some aptitude, interest. And thirdly, we used to have a gardening class. Gardening, to be friendly with nature. Nature, preservance of nature is very important. The COVID lesson we must understand how to be friendly with nature. Don't play with nature. That will play with you. It's playing already. The so-called climate change is real now. And the challenges thrown up by climate change is having negative effects on the life of the people. So nature, that's why I say nature, culture, together for a better future. You must preserve your nature and also culture for a better future. And also the need for physical fitness. And also we used to have a moral science. Now science remains, morals are not stressed. This is really disheartening. We have to go back to our roots of our teaching and add the new technology, new methods to that. But the basic values, the foundations, they should not be compromised. Comparatively, why India fared better, according to my understanding? So-called advanced countries, how they are affected, the pandemic. India with huge population and also economic the variations and all. Still, and please note, do some research. Why the farmers, why the rural people are not affected much in the pandemic? They spend more time in open. They are friendly with sun, not their sons, sun, air, plants, and also work. Endurance comes through work, hard work. Not that people in urban areas, they work in air-conditioned rooms, closed doors, no physical activity at all, no enjoyment of the nature. So that's one of the reasons, as I could understand. Otherwise, the results would have been catastrophic. So we have to focus on being friendly with the nature. Everybody, including scientists and everybody. Second is physical fitness. Our children should be motivated about the importance of physical fitness. Physically fit, then mentally alert. That's why this yoga or any other physical activity or cycling, that will reduce pollution also. And then make you physically fit and mentally alert. And also, one more aspect is the food. The Indian food is mostly time tested. It is decided as per the season, Rutu, season, what to be eaten in winter, summer, different seasons. Our people, thousands, and there are thousands of varieties, but unfortunately our children are getting tempted because of this advertisement and also brand showcasing by some icons of society and all. Then when I asked boys, what is there? What are you? They said, sir, nowadays it is instant food. Instant food. I said, instant food means constant disease. Try to understand this. Food has to be properly cooked and eaten. And there is no dearth of food varieties in India. But that too, I am in Tamil Nadu. Oh, amazing varieties. From more Colombo to Earth Colombo. From Chettinadu chicken to mini sambar, idli, all this. And there is a craze for our food across the globe. And we are running behind pizzas, burgers. They may be suitable to their temperature and their conditions, those countries. I don't want to quarrel with them on that. But Indian conditions, for us, it does no good at all. So eating proteinous food, that is more important, not the junk food. This is also important. This new educational policy focus on the ending away the rigid separation between arts and science, curricular and extracurricular activities, vocational and academic streams, how to combine them. I am very happy about it. We must fully capitalize on this vision document prepared by Sri Kasturi Rangan and others, and bring in pedagogical changes that will ignite the passion of the youngsters in subjects like mathematics. Foundational mathematics and science form the basis for STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education. We must nurture and encourage children to make up and take up their careers in society. Any country that aspires to be in the forefront of human knowledge needs to invest in fundamental scientific research, including mathematics. This is my understanding. In order to strengthen the STEM education, we must look beyond government funding. The private sector has also an equal opportunity and responsibility to fund and partner with institutions and to collaborate on STEM projects. Private-public partnership is also need of the hour. This is the global practice now, which has been bringing a lot of benefits for the investors too. Easy IP and patenting regime will also go a long way in encouraging STEM research, and the government has been taking many initiatives in this regard. The Prime Minister gave a 3-line mantra. He said, reform, perform, and transform. Transformation of the lives of the people. My dear sisters and brothers and youngsters particularly, a major issue of concern in STEM-related employment is the underrepresentation of women. While about 40% of STEM graduates in India are women, which is the highest in the world, women's share in STEM jobs in India is mere 14%. Even more worrisome is the poor women's participation in postgraduate and doctoral studies. This needs to be encouraged. The women pay more attention. No deviation. That has been proven. Gargi, Maitreyi, even Vedic times, women were in the forefront. And in between, we started neglecting this women's education. Now, of course, when I go around the universities for attending convocation and all, a welcoming trend is that the Vice President gives awards for 10, 15, 20, 30 people. All others degrees are awarded by the governor or the minister or the chancellors and vice chancellors. So among these recipients of the gold medals, top rankers, happy to note, 60% are girls. That's a positive trend, needs to be encouraged. Diversity in STEM is absolutely necessary, and the need of the hour is to bridge the gender divide in employment. We must look at the cause for this dismal underrepresentation of the woman in science and technology jobs and take steps to rectify the situation expeditiously. I'm happy there are some women researchers here and also on the dais also. The number of girl students in IITs, which was just 8% in 2016, has increased to nearly 20%. A very welcoming trend. The Department of Science and Technology's Women Scientist Program is a laudable initiative that encourages women to take up careers in science and maths. We must celebrate our women scientists and mathematicians and showcase them as role models to our young girls so that we can discover many more talented and hidden Asima Chatterjees, Janaki Ammals, and Sekundra Devis. Mathematics and statistics were once looked at as niche fields of research and were not popular career domains. Much has changed in the past few years. There has been a revolutionary change in the way business is done with the advent of data science and data-driven decision making. This was aided by advancement in computing facilities and the emergence of artificial intelligence. Now the mathematical modeling and statistical analysis have become an indispensable skill set in many industries. This field is only expected to grow in the coming years as more and more business, governments and other organizations seek to leverage the power of data. Our young demography and a growing economy imply that there is both increasing demand for work and skilled workforce. In this context, data science is an important area that needs to be fully tapped in ensuring job creation. We must look beyond our traditional science and engineering curricula and must equip young graduates with these new skill sets. Else they will become outdated and the degree will remain only on paper. For this, institutes such as yours and others could offer micro courses in statistics, computer science, and related subjects. The proliferation of distance education courses offered by national institutes like IITs is a good augury, but most of these courses are still in English. That's another problem. We need to offer them in local languages, national languages, so that more students get benefited from such courses. I am not saying don't learn English. Learn English, French, Russian, and even learn Hindi. There should not be any opposition to Hindi. It should not be, that's why I say, no imposition and no opposition. That should be the position. No language should be imposed on people. And no language should be opposed, particularly Indian languages. You must learn as many languages as possible to improve your knowledge. And English also is useful for international this thing and all. You go through the life of many scientists, many great leaders, they first start with mother tongue. And we have a mistaken impression. Otherwise, if you don't know English, you will not go up. Everybody will go up. For that, there is no language limitation. The other up. I'm talking in a lighter sense. But learning English is useful. There is no doubt about it. And as many languages as. But to start with, children must be taught in mother tongue. This is my strong opinion. And I have been talking to everybody, speaking about the same. Because the child's mind, in tender age, the language which he has learned from mother's womb, if you are able to communicate in that language, the boy or the girl catches up easily. And then you can really teach them in other languages also. My dear brothers and sisters, this institute was, as explained, was founded in 1962 as a National Institute of Higher Learning to pursue quality fundamental research. I must say it has done understandingly well in research and is well recognized both nationally and globally. I am aware that this institute is also involved with the proposed mega science project called India-based Neutrino Observatory. This project aims to build a world-class underground lab close to Madurai to study the exotic and elusive particles called neutrinos. The detectors to be located there, we built indigenously. It was explained to me. Everything is going to be built indigenously. With active participation from industry, there will be a lot of positive takeaways from this ambitious project. And it will elevate India's global position as a leader in scientific research. I am pleased to note that research is being undertaken by the Institute in other important areas like quantum computing, condensed matter physics, and high energy physics. I must also compliment this institute for contributing to the growth of science in Tamil Nadu through various research collaborations and science outreach programs like Science at the Sabha. A beautiful concept, but it should be more popular. It should be carried to the people. Ultimately, what is the purpose, as we have been telling, is to benefit the people. So you should do more and more sabhas. I would like to congratulate and compliment all the people who are responsible for the growth of this institute. And I convey my best wishes to all the people who are doing research here. And my Pongal, Sankranti. Greetings to all of you, 2021. We hope the darkness will end and we will all be able to move towards progress and live in a happy, healthy atmosphere. I wish you all the best. I am also happy to have virtually inaugurated the new residential wing of the campus. My best wishes to the Institute fraternity for all future endeavors. May you continue to find magic in numbers. May the country prosper, guided by science and reason. May we all collectively thrive in this new world. Thank you very much. Vanakkam. Nandri.